Hello there, I'm Stephen Ritchie. I'm a steel sculptor from Ashford in Kent. I thought I'd show you a project that I'm on at the moment. I was sent a picture and I was sent a sort of colour code of the type of coloration that she'd like her dragon to be in. So as you know, I use steel, and I'm going to approach this as a scaling thing first, as much as, you know, what sort of proportions I'm going to have, wing size, things. I'm not getting the measuring tape out too much. I'm sort of saying about that much by spreading my hands apart and saying, yeah, that's the sort of scale for that type of budget, for that type of thing. And then it's down to the materials that I've got around. I've still got a little bit of flat sheet, and I'm approaching the wings this time in a totally different way. Prior to this, I've been giving them a slight curve and putting lots of veins in there, and yeah, it's a great process. But I thought this time, I've got a phoenix coming up as well on my project list, and I thought I'd try the dragon wings, and in keeping with Sandra's painting as well. Yeah, I thought I'd try this a different way. So I'm using an air hammer, a dolly in my vise, and various sizes of hammer. Holding them at various places in the handle as well. I sometimes put my dolly very low in the vise. This is sometimes just to do with fatigue, and changing the height can change the fatigue a little bit. You can stand on boxes, you can do all sorts of things. But this is what I was up to. And once I've got the wings out to a sort of a shape and a size, again, I'm still working sizes out. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way the wings are going, and they look fantastic outside when I was photographing them. And it's almost a shame this is going to be an outside piece, because this needs to be galvanised, hot dipped and powder coated. But if it had been an indoor piece, we could have gone for a lacquering for this and kept the shine. But anyway, this is where I am. And yeah, I'm getting the proportions there, but I do know I need a body and a torso, and I need a bit of a framework around these wings. The wings, by the way, by bashing them into this wonderful shape, have become really strong. But I've got to get on with the body now. So I've bolted down a little rolling machine, a miniature little rolling machine, because I'm doing this in sections. I'm going to make this really hard work for myself. I've decided to pull the stops out on what's really possible in sheet steel and bits of scrap for a budget this size, working from a picture of her own. So there's lots going on here, and I'm only basing it on her picture. It won't be the same as a picture. I'm not planning that at all. So this is my interpretation. So I've got the sort of body length roughly worked out. These are the sections I'm going to make them out of. I also want an effect going on here, as I've got such small sections here, and I can always trim these down to smaller sections. Then I need a framework. I need to be able to dish these things, and anything on the outside of this body and torso is going to be stretching a little bit, and anything on the inside is going to be concertinaing a bit. So that's why I wanted to make it in these sections, to really get some body texture. Something that flies is really quite a muscular thing as well. It's got to be, isn't it? All little birds and things, anything that flies has really normally got quite a strong chest, muscle, wing, bone structure. They are very robust. I've seen birds fly into windows at 200 miles per hour, shake their heads and fly off again. Do you know what I mean? A few have bounced, everybody's had one bounce off the windscreen, and you're sure the poor little thing's going to be dead, but it's not. So there you are. So that, I've still got to sort of reproduce that. There's a reason for that, because it's got to take a wings that's got. This is going to take gale-force wings, by the way, winds. Thank you. So yeah, look, I've got to make quite a substantial framework here, and then I've got to really reinforce it and bulk it up where the wings are going to be attached. This is going to be on the log. I don't know how exposed it is in the garden. Someone else might purchase this off in years to come. This is going to be around for a long time. So, you know, I've got to think of the windiest day perched on a log, and it's got to sustain itself. It can't crumple up on itself. So I'm making a round bar framework, skeletons if you like, then attaching the steel. Now when you start bashing steel about, it becomes very strong in itself anyway. German engineers worked that out a long time ago, that with a crink and a crease and a, you know, jerry cans, case in point, very well designed. Everybody copied them because it worked really well. Just by pressing and folding, they were superb. Anyway, I'm doing this by hand. So using little leather pads, my machinery at the back, my little air hammer at the back, and mainly by hand, and then a bit of peen work, you can get some fantastic effects. And this is just mild steel, nothing special, probably 1 mil, 0.8 possibly, can't remember, 0.8. So yeah, you can imagine what you can do in copper and stuff as well. So yeah, I'm not doing any major heat treating here as well. Obviously, as I assemble things and make things into things, then I'm welding, and that allows me to have a bit of heat, so I can start pushing things about much easier. And I needed some attachments. I haven't been able to go on site. I haven't been able to visualize this log. I've got some measurements of it. The lady sent me some pictures, and that's the thing now, we're having to communicate all through the net and bouncing emails and pictures backwards and forwards, which I'm quite happy to do. So here I am. I now got the shape, and I now know that this is where the wings are going to attach, right through the middle of the torso. So I need to put some structure inside there. I've also made a sort of the shoulder, and that's my main attaching point, or one of them. So I know that through this thing is going to be the front left foot, if you like, and that's going to be a support place. So I've got to build some support in a fairly strong framework. It's already pretty tough, but it's going to have some big wings dangling off this thing soon, so I've got to make some structure. So instead of it all being little bits of round bar and thin mild steel, this has got to be some plate. I'm getting the overall length, I'm getting the overall shape. It's curling okay at the moment. Still got some issues. From a fabrication point, I've made a bit of a nightmare for myself, there's no doubt about it. But it is what it is, and she is coming together now. And done a little bit more development on the head. Found an odd piece that I'd made for something else and realised that it would make a great lower jaw with a bit of development. And that's the type of head that I kind of want going on with this. I've also, at this point, already trying to work out the painting of this thing as well. I'm going to have it hot dipped, galvanised, powder coated to a battleship grey, which I'm going to scratch up and paint on that. So all exterior paints, of course, hammerite and things. So yeah, there's some of my framework inside there. So I've got some thicker plate there, don't know what that is, 4 or 5 mil, and some flat that took up some curves. I've built some bulkheads. That's going to be where it's going to be bolted to this log, so it wants to be pretty thick, big heavy welds, you know, really make it so it's not going to flap about in the wind, because you don't want this taking off and ending up on the ground, do you? So that's where I am. The time is disappearing, and I'm still messing about with the wings a fair more than I want to, really. I haven't got the action pose. I've made 4 or 5 different items that all individually look brilliant, but I'm trying to tie them together and it's not working, and I can't work out why. For me, the pose isn't working and things, and it took me a great deal of time, and to make the strength as well. It's all about triangles really in engineering, and attempting to either make a triangle or a pyramid, because that's the strongest direct line shape that you can get. So whenever I'm building, well, where the structural triangles are everywhere, so it doesn't fall apart, blow away in the wind, fall down and drop into your pond. You know, this has got to stand up. So lots of structural work going on as well. I had to remove the wings, I think 3 times in the end. And not that I was changing my mind, I just, every time I approached it, I knew I had to make it stronger without it looking ugly, without it sort of taking it away. I need to improve the pose so it's a bit more, something's going on. This dragon's turned around to look at something, and I discovered that actually if I made the wings touch at the back, I gave me another strength thing. It also gave the dragon a purpose, that it was actually getting ready to do something, and it was facing its wings into the wind. So it suddenly, where they was all sort of open, and it never really worked for me for some reason. So the very final setup was I made the wings touch at the back. It brought them all sort of forward. It made them look like these wings were now ready to do something instead of just sort of floating there. I didn't want it to be just floating there. It needed to be looking like it's doing something. And then I had another thing, which is the tail. Now this is like a stereotypical, almost cartoon tail of a dragon, but it was such a great thing to make. So little wireframe work, a little bit of bashing. This thing didn't take me very long, and I was really quite pleased. It's only a tail, I know. It's nothing to get too excited about, but anyway, you know, sometimes little things like this come together quite quickly. I changed my minds about the tips having holes in them. I thought it'd help the galvanizer, and it would look a bit arty, but I took them out in the end. But yeah, little tail. How much fun you can have a little tail, I don't know. And of course I have to get back on with the head as well, because the head yeah, particularly wanted to be right. It also wanted to be safe. Working from the picture, I was worried that so many outgoing things, I've got to assemble this on a log. I don't want it stabbing me either. I'm always worried about children running into things as well. You leave too much exposed low down. So I refined the head, and I'm hoping also I'd planned the painting at this stage as well, so I kind of know what I was going to do with that, which would have extended it a bit. Anyway, this is the head I came up with, and when fully assembled together, I think it worked quite well. The trauma with the wings, once I realised what was going to make more sense, I knew I had to chop them off again and start really strengthening up things. The bar starting to get a little bit thicker, refined the end of the wings as well. Lots of veining going on. First time I've been able to get it out in the daylight and photograph this thing, because it's been very wet and very dingy. And yeah, really pleased with what's going on now. Now I've decided just to go overkill on the strength side of things, and I know I've got a good framework within that. Yeah, it's happening, and this is what I do it for. Sometimes a piece won't gather until almost the last few moments, and then when you've gone to that extent, it's not always that easy what I'm doing. Okay, even though I've been doing this type of work for a long time, I still you know, you can still become a bit overcome that you've spent an awful long time on a sculpture and it's just not working. It's just, no, I don't even like it, you know. And then I started dragging things around, and the devil's in the detail, particularly with the wings for me. But the final pose was working. So this was the last time it was going to be seen. I've sorted out my feet. I've worked out and left loads of options for different angles by making more than 1 foot for the front paw. I've made 2 paws. One a sort of a flat thing, and one, and I can put them in at different angles, and yeah. So I know that now this is kind of ready for sight, and ordinarily before I started powder coating, if it's someone local, I would have gone for a sort of a light fit and worked out if there's anything I can do to make life a little bit easier. But this lady's up in the Midlands, and with the coronavirus going on, unable to go and visit her. So yeah, I'm leaving nothing to chance, and I've made another foot, and that'll be grub screwed in and things on site. So yeah, pleased with that. So this thing's now ready for the hot dip and galvanizers and painters, and this is what I got from them. Not this thing wants keying up before I start painting it, and that's the next step. Hello guys. So look, that's a wrap. That's where I'm at. I've got to paint this thing. It's going to be sitting in my kitchen, and me and my girlfriend are going to approach this sensibly. We don't want to gas ourselves out with sticky paints and things, but this is what I've got to do. So thanks for listening, everybody. It looks like the shopping's just arrived, so I'm going to be calling this one off. Alright, thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and yeah, click that bell and all the other things that help the old YouTube channel along. Thanks very much now, everybody. Stay safe. Bye bye.